When political theorist Hannah Arendt was attending the trial of Nazi operative Adolf Eichmann in 1961, she was struck by the fact that this man who had caused so much harm could seem so terrifyingly normal. Arendt dubbed this famous observation as the banality of evil. Contrary to the media's portrayal of criminals, oftentimes a person that has the capacity to cause terror can be anyone among us. This was exactly the situation at hand on the night of October 1st, 2017, when 65-year-old real estate investor Stephen Paddock opened fire into a crowd of 22,000 concert-goers attending a country music festival on the Las Vegas Strip. If you've ever been to Las Vegas, you will notice that you are presented with thousands of options to be stimulated by. In the seemingly chaotic environment of a Las Vegas casino, the possibilities appear endless and unpredictable, a playground for grown adults where anything goes, and morality is set to the side during your brief visit to the heart of the desert. But in reality, Las Vegas is one of the most surveilled cities in the world. It is a real-life example of a panopticon. A panopticon is a concept for a prison designed by philosopher Jeremy Bentham, a design that allows all prisoners of an institution to be observed by an all-seeing eye, without the inmates being able to tell whether they are being watched or not. And awareness of this constant surveillance allows the institution to be in a constant state of control over the behavior of those within view of the all-seeing eye. No different than a security system in any Las Vegas casino. Stephen Paddock understood the hyper-real nature of this environment better than most, as he was a seasoned gambler.
Mandalay Bay, Las Vegas, opening March 2nd. Call for reservations now.
Although he had been known to spend time in high-stakes rooms, his presence was a mystery to the other regulars in the casinos. Paddock and his girlfriend, Mary Lou Danley, lived only an hour away from Las Vegas in Mesquite, Nevada, a town known for its growing retirement community. Mesquite residents familiar with Paddock described him as someone who did not speak much and tended to keep a low profile. He wasn't someone who was involved in politics, nor was he known to be religious. He spent much of his time going on cruises or playing video poker with the wealth that he had accrued over the years, by working various mundane jobs and eventually becoming an investor in property. This tendency to pursue new and different sensations and experiences was seemingly a regular pattern of behavior for Paddock, as he frequently sought out different jobs and pastimes over the course of his life. Adding to the mundane nature of his lifestyle was the fact that Paddock's only recorded interaction with law enforcement was a minor traffic citation, which he settled in court. In the months leading up to the crime, Paddock's behavior had begun to shift as his gambling losses began to accumulate. It was reported that he began drinking from early on in the day and grew increasingly despondent. As with other addictions, the consequences of gambling can lead to feelings of despondency and helplessness. Whether or not this was the reason for his despondency is unknown at this time. Around the same time, Paddock's gun purchases spiked, purchasing over 55 firearms, the majority of them rifles. Further adding to the mystery surrounding Paddock was the fact that the local gun owner community had never seen him at any of the gun clubs or shooting ranges. 2 weeks before the attack, Paddock sent his girlfriend to her native country, the Philippines. He had surprised her and purchased an airline ticket and wired her $100,000 to buy a house there. He then began preparing for what would become the deadliest mass shooting in United States history. According to his girlfriend, Paddock repeatedly scoped out various hotels and the view from different windows when they stayed at the Mandalay Bay a month prior to the shooting. This description of Paddock's meticulous behavior was mentioned by many of the individuals who knew him, and was a characteristic he carried throughout his life. After months of preparation, Paddock arrived at the Mandalay Bay on September 25, 2017, and booked into room 32135, a complimentary room on the 32nd floor. 4 days later, he checked into the room directly connected to the original suite. Both rooms were carefully selected to overlook the site of a concert that was being held at the Las Vegas Village, an open-air venue across the street from the hotel. With the help of hotel bellmen and staff who allowed him to use the service elevator in the Mandalay Bay, he brought 5 suitcases filled with an arsenal of weapons to his room over the course of the next 5 days, completely undetected by hotel staff and security. Security cameras at the Mandalay Bay captured much of this behavior prior to the massacre. He then proceeded to gamble, usually at night. On the third and final night of the festival, while country music singer Jason Aldean was giving the closing performance, Paddock broke 2 windows in both the suites with a hammer, and what followed could only be described as complete chaos.
I'm inside the Mandalay Bay on the 31st floor. I can hear the automatic bar coming from 1 floor ahead, 1 floor above us.
Go that way! There's gunshots right here. That's fireworks. That is gunshots.
Keep going! Get out of here, Mom! Go!
Stay here. Security, where's security? I'm trying to get on the radio. The room has been barricaded. We can't get in. I'm trying to get on the radio. It's room 135. He's still shooting. We gotta go. No. We can't get in. Listen, it's been barricaded. Stop.
You guys barricaded, most likely. This movie's right. 29. Okay. We're not going to make any.
We're not hearing it from here. It sounded like there were 2 shooters. We were at the event. We were out there. There's 2 shooters.
I saw gunshot fire coming out of this room. They're shooting outside and they're shooting out.
I'm going to follow you guys as you go. All right. Hey, if you start shooting, fucking lay it down.
Oh, I told him, he's precision, I'm going full out.
He's in there. Keep that door open. Hold up right next to Steve. Get up next to Steve and cover that door in case it opens up. You're covering that door in case it opens up. You're covering that one.
What is that cart that's in the hallway?
I don't know, and that's why we're not going any farther. And you got something in the hallway right there. It's a gas cart.
Use your hands.
Sir, I need you to get out of bed, get some clothes on, grab your wallet and your phone, please.
Paddock eventually turned one of his weapons on himself and took his own life, and an hour later, police arrived on the scene.
Breach? You want to breach it? Breach. Move up. K9 coming out. Police coming out. K9 coming out. K9 coming out. Clear.
We have this contained. There's no need for anybody else up here. If there's other situations going on, then let's address those. We're a code 4 here. We've got patrol units that are clearing down the rest of the
Jair, I can't tell what direction this room is. Let me get...
This guy's been 419 for a minute in here. So who's calling these in, I wonder? No, he's self-inflicted this. Yeah, he has an intricate camera system set up out to this, so he knew when officers were coming down the hallway.
After the massacre, everyone wondered why someone who seemed so ordinary and unexceptional could behave in such a way. The media quickly began to cover the story on a mass scale and started pointing to arbitrary reasons for such behavior, such as mental health or gun laws. Though mental health struggles could have been a part of Paddock's life, the media had little evidence supporting the claim that this was the cause for the shooting. and the assumption that acts of mass violence are driven primarily by diagnosable psychopathology is an oversimplification of the complexity of human behavior. But the media were unable to point to factors that might have played a bigger role in leading to such horrible actions, because that would mean criticizing the very thing that pays their bills. A society that idealizes empty material consumption that often leads to feelings of emptiness and existential dread in its individuals.